Hello and welcome to this episode of Point Counterpoint. We are here to discuss and deliberate, as always, issues that concern Goa and Goans. We are here today with a particular issue that is a recurring theme in many of our discussions. It's a pain point of immense proportions that has led to so many Goans taking to the streets. The issue of land and what mega projects is doing to our beautiful sweet Goa, and the ravages of this destruction which is going to have a huge impact on future generations. But before I proceed further, let's reflect on two lines which the former US President Abraham Lincoln said while addressing a rally during the American Civil War, and he referred to governance of the people, for the people, and by the people. And it is that theme that resonates amongst all democracies across the world. And the Indian Constitution also starts with "we the people." So we are here today not as public representatives or professionals or media, but primarily as voices of the people of Goa, who now want to make themselves heard. And the way they are going, they are now dependent on no one actually. They will just go out and get themselves heard come what may, because the future of their land and then the children and the generations that will come after them are at stake. And this is what they've been openly saying. So we are here because they have brought us here. Coming to the topic at hand, the topic is very simple. The topic is GOA. And what is happening to these three words, which mean our entire lives, our livelihoods, and our very existence. For a long time, the crucial aspect of Goa's life has revolved around land. Whether we look at the comunidades of the past, or land dwellings, or the farmlands of Goa, and what is happening right now. And that is undergoing a huge destruction. The Western Ghats is actually one of the 36 global biodiversity hotspots. It saw a 5% reduction in its evergreen cover recently. There was an increase of 4.5% of its built-up cover. 9% of its agriculture area has been lost. And activities like stone quarrying, mining to a large extent, construction of infrastructure, quote unquote, has all led to deforestation and has led to massive changes in the Ghats, causing landslides, floods, droughts, and so on and so forth. We are here and really privileged to have a very knowledgeable panel who are not just stakeholders but understand this whole subject of what is happening to Goa's land extremely well. Without taking more time on this, let us suffice to say that this is going to be only about the manner in which our land is being treated, and secondly, the manner in which laws, and that is what people have been saying, and this is the people's main allegation, how laws have been tweaked and twisted and has led to massive large-scale mega projects which absolutely has crushed our soil, our land, and even our existence. So that is what we're going to talk about. This is, of course, there will be focus areas on some of the major projects that have been huge flashpoints of discussion, and we will go into that. On my extreme left is Tulio D'Souza, the Vice President of the Congress Party, and somebody who has fought against these issues a lot. Welcome, Tulio. Swapnesh Shellekar, of course, is the man of the moment, the person who's, one would say, almost single-handedly, though that is not true, but almost single-handedly taking on this big crusade based on information, RTI documents, and ground-level knowledge to just point facts at what is happening to our land laws. On my right is Lawrence Fernandez, a social activist of Songkhla, an absolute veteran, and one of the first people to have actually gone to the Chief Minister to tell him about the current flashpoint in Songkhla, the botanic projects. And last but not the least, very honored to have Ma'am Alina Saldana, former Environment Minister, with us, and Alina's commitment to her land and also her Kortali and other constituency is known to all, and she, of course, as always, has been very much a part of this discussion. I will begin with Sapnesh because he has taken on this issue a lot. Sapnesh, my first question to you, and you can expand a lot. The point here is, do you feel that this flashpoint is just the beginning, or does it go back to RP 2001 and the remnants of that has now reached us right now?
This is definitely a flashpoint, the awakening of the people. But the cause behind this is not new. The cause definitely starts from what had initiated at the time of Regional Plan 2011, subsequent agitation and scrapping of that plan. All the ambition, all the dubious plans, all the schemes has actually now coming live. The plans were made then in 2004, 2005. It is getting executed now. Only difference is the delay. If Regional Plan 2011 was notified how it was designed, this destruction would have happened 10-15 years back.
Right.
The only delay was because of the agitations which actually forced the government to scrap those plans. Those things are coming again now.
Right.
Because the people remains the same in the power.
Right. No, but also, Sapnesh, I'll just stay with you for a little while longer. See, right now, if you see 2011, that plan was there and that plan was scrapped.
Yes.
Now, RP 2021 is fully operational at this point of time. Now, when 2011, when that plan was scrapped, there was a belief that all the quote-unquote wrongdoings or illegalities or illegal conversions were dead and buried, and it would be 12 feet under the ground. Now, the issue is, at this point of time, many of those skeletons, if I may call it that, seem to be appearing and coming back into 2021. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, it is there.
Yeah.
In terms of percentage, if you ask me, almost about 60 to 65% what was there in Regional Plan 2011,
right,
somehow it managed to creep into RP 2021 also.
Right.
The only check which Manohar Parrikar, before coming to power in 2012, he had made a commitment that he will outright scrap this Regional Plan 2021 within 100 days of he assuming power, which he didn't do. But the check which he had put in place at that time, that permissions will be granted by verifying what is there in Regional Plan 2001, and if that tallies, only in terms of settlement zones, and rest all of the ecological sensitive zones which were marked in RP 2021 were not to be touched. That was the decision till the time of 2018, when Mr. Vijay Sardesai came in and he removed that check, and entire Regional Plan 2021 was enforced. But yes, whatever was there in 2011, at least 65% managed to creep into 2021 plan.
Right. I'll come to you, Tulya. Ma'am, I'd like to bring you in right away. See, the issue is the current agitation and the anger of the people, and with so many protests happening, and we saw this candlelit march in Sankwal, and then the whole march to Kujira, all that, and of course it's a big people's movement. Firstly, if you could just reflect on why the Sankwal movement is happening right now. What exactly is the anger of the people, number one. Number two, how do you see this agitation as different from the other agitations, if at all?
Now, first and foremost, I think it is very evident that the rules and laws of the land are being violated. Okay, there are documents proving that certain areas in the village of Sankwal are sensitive areas, like for example survey number 257/1,
yes,
okay, where which was previously identified as private forest.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, if it is identified as private forest,
right,
that means you can almost say that it's a sacred place and we cannot touch that area,
Correct.
but we have to protect it as a forest,
Right.
and ensure that not only plant life,
Right.
but animal life also is taken care of.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, unfortunately, the as per the report of the state level expert committee 2711 2012 to 2018, survey number 257, as I said, was declared as private forest. But now it has been withdrawn from the list of private forest areas. Now the question that arises is, what are the conditions, with reference to nature, that have changed to allow this survey number to be withdrawn from the list of private forest?
This was done in which year?
I think it was done somewhere in 2018 something.
Okay. Huh.
Okay. Now, if it is withdrawn, that means, now if you go up there on that hill, you will see thick plantation, okay?
Right.
Trees all over,
Right.
okay?
Right.
Now, there are springs also there.
Okay.
Now, if you're allowing construction activity on this area,
Right.
that means you're going to cut all these trees.
Right.
Now, I would like to know whether the Forest Department of the state has granted permission, and what are the prevalent conditions that allowed this survey number to be withdrawn from the list of private forests.
Right.
Because it was withdrawn and then the area was given
Correct.
for
Correct.
construction
Yes.
activity. So, I mean, if the nature remains constant, how can at one time you declare, and that too the forest department declaring it as private forest, and at a later stage you remove it from the forest area to allow a builder to take charge of the area. Now this construction activity on this survey number is going to destroy the village of Sankwal, and that's why obviously the people of the village are totally agitated. First and foremost, most of the conditions that should be prevalent are not there. For example, the access road. Okay, the access road has to be minimum 10 meters. Presently, if you go onto the site, you will see that the access road is about 5 meters.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so it's violating all the regulations, and yet I don't know why the government is staying quiet. The government should speak up.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'll come back to this point. Some
Yes.
very important points, but you just raised the first point. But we'll go deep into this, a little later. Tulio, if I can just bring you in before I bring Mr. Fernandez here. Tulio, see, we are speaking about everybody's speaking about Sankwal at this point of time. But if we see that it is not just Sankwal, we are actually seeing people's democratic uprisings happening in Old Goa. It's happening in Reshpangos, and it's happening in various other points. There is a beginning of something happening in Chobde also now. As Swapnish Bapu was saying. So
something is happening in Dargali also.
In Dargali also, correct.
There's a huge hill
Yeah,
cutting
correct.
that has
Absolutely,
happened over
it's happening there as well. So it is not just here. There are different pockets where these kind of issues are coming up, and they're not probably new issues, but I think it's a new energy which is leading this to happen. If you can give us a more broad-based thing, of course, refer to, since you know the Reshpangos agitation very closely, refer to that, but give a wider perspective on why land issues are being treated as a no-go, zero tolerance issue by the people at this point of time.
See, Sujay, I will not touch one issue. I will go on the
precisely
on the general
broad-based,
aspect
yes,
of what's
yes,
happening.
Correct.
See, there is a regional plan that is in force at the moment, notwithstanding certain observations made by my co-panelist Swapnesh. The regional plan has been in force now for whatever its worth is as of 2021, notified somewhere in 2011, end of 2011.
Right.
Then Manohar Parrikar had kept it on hold. Then he bought the areas which are common to both the plans that can be released, and ultimately it was released in 2017-18 by Vijay Sardesai in the following Manohar Parrikar ministry.
Right.
Now, one is the regional plan of the state, one is the CRZ map as of 2011. There is a coastal zone management plan in force. Now I'll tell you, because all these are important. And there is also the forest department's map that has a statutory meaning to the state. Now I wouldn't go into what is done and what is released, because there was a committee appointed by the government to, I'm not going to that specific one in general because I know that subject. There's a committee appointed by the government to check, and there were certain criteria that were enlisted, that the forest has to be minimum of 5 hectares and many other character, and should be contiguous to an existing private forest. But I don't want to go in the merits of which project where. But these are documents of the government for the people of the state that are in force, because these are should be overlaid on each other so that you can get what is the exact situation in the state. Now you come to Rejmagush, for example. Rejmagush, one project is of the DLF right on the hill there, where the rampant hill cutting is going on at the moment. Now I do not understand how can the president of the current party, the current dispensation, say that these have been done earlier, these are old permissions. What is old permission? I have got on record a permission signed by the current minister in 2022 with the Panchayat license of 2022. Another permission just predating that of 2019, the license signed by the current MLA of Saligaon, Mr. Kedar Naik, on the license. And my co-panelists can correct me if I am wrong. This, I have studied that whole matter. So when your ministers and your people, panchayats controlled by you, have been given the permission, how can you go back in time? They went in time in Bhutani project also, some 2000s. That matter was done and sealed at that time. People had scrapped that project. Some MTech construction, MTech. And now you have a 2023 sale deed. You have a 2023 conversion sanad. And my co-panelist will probably had hinted on that, that a conversion sanad issued has the endorsement of departments like forest and Mamladar and XYZ. So they have a this. But now, only when, my question is, only when the people mounted pressure, there has been a sustained pressure from the local people and from all activists and political parties. The Congress has been in the forefront to oppose this at Sankwal. Now they suddenly come up with a show cause notice by the PDA. And yesterday the village panchayat issued another show cause. Now in the show cause notice, the sum and substance of that show cause notice is that the road width is not as prescribed in the regulation, 10 meter width, and there is some 5 or 6 meter road. Second, the entire Bhutani project is on a hill slope. The accesses to the rear and whatever have to be made by cutting the hill. And they said you don't have the permission for. Because again,
because hill cutting permission is not been
under
given.
17A, there is a permission required from the chief town planner. Now, if these requirements were not met, why was the license given in the first place? Because
and also another important fact,
I think I've become
fact that
very
should be mentioned. Yes, that this license was given by the panchayat of the village. The proponent applied in the morning and the license was given in the evening. So obviously the project was not studied at all. The pros and cons involved in the project were not.
I do not know how that can happen, because
what she's saying is extremely important, ma'am. If you could just re-emphasize again, did I hear you correctly that the project proponent applied for the license in the morning in the panchayat, and the license was given on the same very day?
Yes.
Does the Panchayat Raj?
Happened. It's unbelievable.
No.
Okay.
But it's a fact.
Unbelievable. See, if I go to some government office to apply for a permission, I may get it in the evening or I may get it tomorrow, but at least that is tenable maybe. Although then sometimes when you get something too soon,
Right.
it probably raises an eyebrow.
Correct.
But why I'm saying that? Because as per the Panchayat rules, a Panchayat file, once it lands on the desk of the clerk or whoever inverts it, that Panchayat file has to go through a Panchayat meeting.
Right.
And only when the minutes of the meeting are approved, then the license is typed by the secretary. This is what is. Now I am shocked to hear this. That means it has been it has circumvented all the possible regulations.
All
Well,
the
I think Mr. Fernandez now, he's been patiently hearing all this. Mr. Fernandez, see, you've heard Alina say something very crucial. Tulio has given very important points of that. I'd like to go back to two things. One is the nature of the people's agitation and why you feel it is different this time. Secondly, where do you feel that the local, or do you feel that the local authorities like the panchayats and others, the ground level authorities, have let people down? This is what the people seem to say, and if that is correct, then please explain to us why that is so.
Well, let me talk about Sankwal first.
Yes.
As you
I'm
said.
talking, Sankwal, because you are from there. So
Sankwal,
Yes.
see, we have been fighting this type of projects for a long time. In 2008, this project came under the name of MTech Builders.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yes.
And myself, as a senior person I am talking about, Adolf Gomes and Simon Carvalho, you must have heard.
Yes.
Both of them are gone.
Right.
So I was the front runner during that period, and we fought tooth and nail, and the government had to scrap this project.
That's right. Yes.
Okay,
correct.
we did it, and we succeeded, and that was the thing. It was finished.
Correct.
But
For the benefit of the readers, I'll just read out some dates just to.
Yeah.
So MTech was a real estate company. In 2006, on the same survey number, they applied for conversion of land. The conversion was given in 2007.
yeah,
They got the Coastal Management Authority clearance in 2008. Environment clearance was given in 2009. Construction license for the compound wall was taken from the Sankwal Village Panchayat in 2011. Though the construction license was applied for, because of the pressure put by the locals,
Yeah.
they did not carry on with the construction. So
Exactly.
this is, I'm just putting it in dates and figures, what you are, the sentiment that you've listed.
Exactly.
Yeah, please carry on. Yes.
but now, good you brought up that.
Yeah.
Now, if these licenses, what you are talking about,
Yes.
were given to MTech, not Bhutani.
Right.
So how suddenly those licenses can be used by the present proponent?
Yes.
Have not been used.
No,
A fresh set of licenses has been declared. That is my point. That when the
Fresh licenses.
I think the party president said that this was done much earlier. People should introspect. Precisely what Lawrence has said, that this is all scrapped now.
Okay, we'll dive into that.
That is
We'll
there,
come
that
back.
is
Yeah,
there.
so I'll come back to you in detail.
Okay, okay.
Alina, we'll just allow him since he's waiting.
Yeah.
Just 5 more minutes.
Yeah.
On the tell us a little bit about how people have come out, the kind of people who've come out. Because from whatever I hear is that people from all walks of life,
Yeah.
teachers, doctors, bankers, other people, the elderly, the young women. So we want a little bit of insight as to the kind of people who are fighting this.
I will tell you something.
Yes.
To start with, Mr. Tulsidas Naik, who is my ward member,
Yes.
a Punch,
Yes.
and who is coincidentally is the South Goa BJP president.
Right.
He came.
Right.
Peter D'Souza,
Right.
son of our ex-deputy speaker,
Correct.
he came to me.
Right.
And then some other guys like Narayan Naik and all, they said, what we are going to do.
Correct.
I said, okay,
Yes.
first thing,
Yeah.
I would like to meet the chief minister.
Right.
I told them,
Right.
if you are ready to do that, I will come with you.
Right.
And I will speak with the
Right.
chief minister.
Right.
Luckily, Mr. Tulsidas Naik got an appointment, and 4-5 of us went to see him.
Right.
So, one by one, we started talking. I introduced myself to him. I said, I am the native of Sankwal and worked during Mr. Parikar's time. And I invited Mr. Parikar because we had a similar problem.
Right.
We had Marina was coming up in Sankwal.
Right.
And I said, in one word, Mr. Parikar promised us. I
Right.
told him,
Right.
just to introduce myself, who I am. Then He says, explain to me what is this project like Marina. Then I explained, because I am from the shipping.
Right.
I explained to him when the boats come and they park there, how oil will spill.
Right.
And then the marine life will be destroyed, oil will leak.
Right.
Everything I explained.
Right.
And he said, this project, I am telling you, I will not allow to happen. So then I reminded Chief Minister, Mr. Dr. Pramod Sawant.
Right, right.
I said, I know that Mr. Parrikar is the one who brought you on this chair, and I am sure you will listen to us as he used to listen to us.
Right.
And in one word, I said, he scrapped this project, and I want you to do same thing for this project.
Okay, Sapnesh, I'll just bring you in here.
Yeah.
Now, if you can just, since you've studied this so deeply, just tell us a little bit about this licensing questions that are being raised. That there was an earlier license and there are current licenses, and people are talking about it regularly. If you can just throw some light, because this is what people have been raising as well.
I'll go to construction license. See, construction license, they are claiming that they had this construction license in the past also. But none of the construction license were put to use. Execution was not there. I remember in 2023, before this agitation started, there was this company by name ANS Construction. They started constructing the compound wall first at the site. And that is where we had filed a complaint to an extent that Panchayat had issued them a stop work order notice.
Right, right,
To ANS Constructions, not even to Bhutani or Paramesh.
right.
That was in 2023. Post that, ANS Constructions sold it to Paramesh. And new set of permissions has been acquired by Paramesh. I'll go to conversion sanad now. Their claim is they are having a conversion sanad of 2007.
Right. They as in
Paramesh. now.
Paramesh. Okay. Yes.
That was related to settlement zone. Now the zone of this particular parcel of land, that is 257/1 in ODP, has been changed to C1 zone,
Right. Commercial one.
commercial one,
Right,
C1,
right.
with 200 FAR.
Okay.
Now for increasing from S1, that was 80% to 200%, they needed this commercial conversion sanad. What Revenue Department does, they give conversion sanad as amendment to the old conversion sanad.
Right. Right. Right.
While issuing a conversion sanad, they need to seek report from multiple departments, which includes Forest Department.
Okay. Right.
This conversion sanad,
So rather than giving a fresh conversion sanad by deliberating on it as a fresh case,
Exactly.
they gave an amendment to the conversion
amendment
sanad.
to the
Okay.
conversion sanad
Uh-huh.
to an extent that they relied on 2007's report of Forest Department. There was no fresh report sought from Forest Department
Okay.
for granting this conversion sanad.
Right.
Now there were multiple development which had taken place related to forest.
Right.
In 2012, when Ma'am was Forest Minister,
Right.
she had put in the Thomas and Arazo committee for
Right.
assessing the forests which were not identified by Sawant and Karapur.
Right. Right.
So Arazo was for the South Goa.
Right.
He first provisionally identified the survey number and many other survey numbers to an extent that only in 3 villages of South Goa, that was in Mormugao Taluka, Sakwade, Kortalim and Dabolim, this committee managed to identify above 5 square kilometers of private forest.
I see. Okay. Right.
And that committee was abruptly dismantled in 2018. Then this government, post Parikar's demise, a new review committee was constituted, and that committee subsequently by 2011 they managed to eliminate almost about 3.5 square kilometers from these 3 villages as not qualifying to private
So you're
forest.
saying out of the 5 kilometers that were identified as private forests during her term,
Yes.
3 kilometers were taken
Removed
out.
by this
Removed.
review
Right,
committee.
right. I'll just come to you later, but before that, for the benefit of the viewers, we would like to share and inform you that in this discussion we had given every opportunity to the Bhutani company to be present here, because whatever Sapnesh is raising, of course through a lot of research, whatever Ma'am Alina is raising, in the fairness of justice and in the spirit of giving opportunity to respond, we had actually reached out to the Bhutani company to come and speak, the spokesman to come and speak. After initially agreeing to come, they said that they are traveling and they're busy and they will not be able to come. Doesn't matter. But this chair is here as a symbol of our invitation to them, and our doors are open for them to come and sit here and give their point of view at any point of time. So in the sense that the points here are made out of a lot of research and information, but if the company has its own point of view which could be contradictory to this with evidence, we invite them here at any point of time to come and speak. At the same time, we had invited the spokespersons both at a political level as well as the government level to come and speak and give their point of view. Again, for reasons best known to them, probably they were preoccupied with other issues of the state, but at the same time, the same invitation that went out to them also goes out to them, in the sense that it is important that they come. However, in the sense, some clarifications have already come in the press and other parts, but for the purpose of a healthier debate, one would have liked their participation here as well. Anyway, having said that, ma'am, you had a point to make.
Yes. I would like to bring another very important fact, and the fact is that survey number 257 bar 1 in the village of Sankwal, besides, now we think Bhutani is the owner of the land, but it has 2 other private owners.
Right.
Okay. One is Mrs. Sukorina Wallis, whose father-in-law, Francis Wallis, had purchased a piece of land in survey number 257 bar 1 by virtue of deed of sale dated 21st August 1969.
Okay.
And here is the deed of sale.
Okay, it is still existing and alive.
Similarly,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Now this is one. Similarly, there is the Naik family who also owns a piece of land in survey number 257 bar 1. But what Bhutani has done is they have gone and compounded the entire property, taking in these 2 private patches of land,
Right.
and stopping them from going where they have been going over the last years, so many years, to collect fruits from the forest area, collect kaju, extract juice of kaju. All that was done in that area, on that ground, and now they have been stopped because because Bhutani has constructed the compound wall and taken in the private land belonging to these 2 families.
So
the Naik
but
family.
have the families protested?
Yes, they
Okay,
have.
okay.
They have protested. They have protested, and I think it's for the government to
It
take
is
a
not showing
stand
on
on
the
this.
plan. Okay.
I mean, how
It has to be
can
contested
These are
in the
new
plan.
elements coming up in
yes,
the whole
how
discussion.
can
Yes.
Bhutani
Right.
enclose private property belonging to other owners as he's within his area?
Right.
Enclose
Okay.
it by a compound wall. So this is something that the government
No, I'm
has
really
to look
missing
into.
the spokesperson of the Bhutani company. I'm missing them
No,
much more at this point of
see,
time,
this
because
is
the responses are so important.
And
here.
this is a fact
Yes,
because
This
the
is a
deed
very
of
serious
sale.
matter
Correct.
which Alina
The-
has raised,
Yes.
and I'll tell you, this one is that you need to contest it through a civil suit probably,
Right.
but prima facie, if they write a letter to the panchayat, produce their sale leads and
Yes.
say that our property has been included as a part of development, where we are very clearly owners of our own pieces of land in that survey number.
So I have one question here.
Yeah.
I'll play.
No, but the lady has gone to court.
Yeah, good. Court is, of course, the ultimate option.
Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Okay, the issue here is now, if you put yourself in Bhutani shoes,
Yes.
or any other developer, okay, they will say that, look, we came to Goa, we asked for all necessary permissions. At this point of time, all the permissions have been accorded to us. We are proceeding based on the permissions that are being given to us. We are not here to look into the efficacy of the permissions or under what circumstances
Yes.
they were given and all that. Right now, as we get into this project, we have all the documents with us. So I'll ask you the same question. Okay, my point is to
Yeah,
the builder.
one
I'll come to you, ma'am, on the
yes.
same question. Ma'am, let's go one by one. My point here is what is the answer that we will give to them, because according to them, they are investors, they are project proponents, they are going ahead, and they are armed with all the respective licenses. So they say the government and the respective political parties may have this huge battle on who's the culprit and around whose neck the bell should hang. But the point remains to the builder that he is there armed with, he has put in money, he has bought the land and so on and so forth. What's your response to that?
See, in this particular case of 257 by 1,
Yes.
which that Bhutani project is coming up, there is a background to this project, and I'm sure the current owners of that project, owners of that property, have done some due diligence and found out why licenses in the past have lapsed. What was the background? Lawrence has given us a clear background, and I'm sure this amount of due diligence would have been done by them to know whether that project was halted, it was stopped because the local people have not. So I understand your point as a devil's advocate to take a view that, yeah, they've got all the permissions and why should you stop them?
Correct.
No, but that notwithstanding the flawed permissions, there is also issues that the locals who have stopped a project for certain reasons, and the reasons have been already well elucidated by
Mr.
Lawrence.
Fernandez, yes.
Now, coming to the next part of it, when you apply for the permissions, you have to also understand that on a hill, there are certain restrictions. While it is not advisable to cut hills at all, and I say that, but the regulations say that up to 25% slope can be developed with a permission from the chief town planner under 17A with certain restrictions and whatever. Now, they are short of that permission. So, how can you say that they are got all the permissions? They are also short on the required road width of 10 meters when there is only a 5 or 6 meter road
No,
width.
I wanted to elicit these responses. That's
so
correct.
these are
Yes.
the notwithstanding all the background of that matter, that the locals have their protest based on some valid understanding,
Right.
and why they are protesting, and why in the past this project was sought to be abandoned.
But Sapnesh, same question to you.
Now there are a lot more permissions they will be requiring before actually going for the development of that
Right,
land.
right.
That includes, how Tulio said, that includes hill cutting permission under section 17.
Correct. Which has not been given yet.
Now the question is whether it can be given or not.
Right.
If the hill, the slope, the gradient of that hill is beyond 25%, then there is no scope.
So what
of
you are saying is there is no scope for even considering that kind of a response,
Exactly.
the application.
Now this is where government is also the policies of government is flawed largely because, see, the first basic check, if you are granting a permission on a hill and a potential forested area, then you have to first ascertain whether that particular parcel of land actually has any development permission potential or not.
Correct.
Before granting any sort of permission.
No, that's what I just wanted to make a distinction.
No, government-
Here, the
not only
government
the
has
government-
committed various flaws over a period of time,
And
builders are
Bhutani-
taking advantage of it.
No, no,
I mean,
and
is that a
Bhuta-
fair thing to say?
And Bhutani themselves, just like you do a due diligence in
Yes.
terms of the title,
Yes.
you do a due diligence in terms of the survivability and the feasibility
No,
of
something
this
of here I'm
project.
essentially saying is that this
Tani
is the
का जे-
government's
No,
government's
no, no,
negligence
Tani
oversight
I'll-
or
एक
I'll
feasibility
claim.
क्या ला असू शकता नहीं?
See, whenever some investor is coming to a state, now it has become a state policy to act as a broker. To show that everything is green over here and
Right.
you can come and do whatever you want. The biggest reason what I am trying to project in here is the ODP of Vasco da Gama, ODP 2030.
Right.
In that ODP, this parcel of land is shown as developable, not just developable, C1 grade, C1 zone. Now anyone, even a common people from Goa, if he wants to procure a property, he will first see the title and the zone, whether it is developable or not.
Right.
So that applies to any investor who
Sure.
is coming to Goa.
Sure.
When your ODP is not showing any contours on the actual planning document, which is the outlet development plan, then how do you blame a developer?
That's my point. That is my point. Correct.
How do you
Correct.
blame your developer? And that is
Exactly.
the very reason my square blame is on the government. They are acting as a broker here. They are inviting these people without actually
Yeah.
going into the what you say, the prospects of the development potential of a project in Goa.
Just give me 1 minute. My ma'am wants to
No,
come in, then
what
I'll
I
go.
wanted
Yeah.
to say is now, for example, this deed of sale is registered,
Right.
okay, in the office of sub-registrar of Mormugaon. You know, there are specifics, everything. Now, when the government gave permission to the proponent to construct the compound wall, shouldn't the government first make a thorough study
Of course.
of the area, find out who are the owners of the area, okay, how
Right.
many owners there are. Because I remember when I was in the forest department, when a tree had to be cut in a private compound, a site inspection was carried out
Right. Right.
to study different aspects with reference to that one tree or two trees. And now we are ready to fell an entire private forest
Right.
to allow a concrete jungle to come up in its place. So I think it is the responsibility of the government
Right.
to study every issue thoroughly, which has not been done.
Okay, Lawrence Bab, I'm just coming to this. Lawrence hasn't spoken much. I'll give him some more time. 2 minutes. Lawrence Bab, my issue is again coming back to the people of Sankwal. See, there are two things that we noticed. One was their march to Kujira for that opposition to that event. Secondly, of course, the candlelit vigil, which was extremely successful. If you can just tell us a little bit about the human and the people aspect as to what are the next steps, what have you all planned, how do you want to keep this agitation going in a peaceful democratic way?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
The thing is, I will talk a little bit more about Sankwal.
Yes, yes.
You know, Sankwal has always been in the limelight, whether good reasons or bad reasons. That is, I leave it to you to decide.
Right.
Now, for example, I'll tell you, the biggest fraud has taken place in Sankwal, and I brought it up. You know, by the way, I have found one WhatsApp group. It's called GOA. Goinkarancho Aznadik Awad. Mr. Swapnesh Shellekar is my member.
Right.
Miss Alina Saldan also member.
Right.
There are Oscar Rebello, many of them.
Right.
So I put them, and then this question was put before the authorities.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now the thing is, 500 hectares of land of Zuari Agrochemical is been grabbed,
Right.
fraudulently grabbed, which I brought out to the notice of our MLA and blah blah. I am a shareholder of Sankwal Komdat.
Right.
Let me go out of the point.
That's okay.
Botani,
Yeah.
little bit,
Yeah.
because this is concerning my village.
Right. Right.
And you know, I spoke with Mr. Vijay Sardesai, Fatorda MLA, who is a friend of mine. I told him, this is what is happening. Can you do some favor? Can you bring this up in the assembly? Because this is too huge land, and it was supposed to be on 99 years lease as per the code of Komdat. Premises could be given on lease
Right.
during Bandodkar's time.
Right.
You know, they fraudulently screwed up the whole system and made the administrator of South Goa that time to sign the sale deed.
Right.
Mind you, sale deed. You cannot sell Komdat land, but there you can have a affirmment, it is called, and
Yes,
you pay
yes.
for, etc.
Right.
500 hectares,
Right.
which is 50 lakh square meters, our land.
Right.
So I told Mr. Vijay Sardesai, I'll make you a shareholder of Sankwal Komdat, and I gave him one share, transferred, and then he raised the question in the assembly. You know what they said in the assembly? Revenue Minister, our so-called guy, Mr. Atanaz Masarat, he said, I will consult the legal team and he'll come back to you. And then he said, next time the question was raised, he said, my legal advisor said this case is very weak and we will not win it because it is the land has been sold to Zuari.
Right.
Now you tell me, a small person like me, you want to buy land, you know, there are so many formalities. And Komdat land, as per the code of Komdat, I have a book.
Right.
You cannot sell the land, and this government is doing nothing. Actually, what he said, Revenue Minister, is rubbish, because they were inside them. They want this land to be given to Zuari.
Yeah. Okay. There are two aspects. I'll ask the question, then you can answer that and go into your other points. See, before we conclude, there is one aspect that all of us have been talking about now and before the debate, is this phrase called carrying capacity. Now, the point is, interestingly, somebody like Mr. Prabhu, Suresh Prabhu, former Union Minister, has been repeatedly speaking about this in the Goa context also. And we also know that on the day when that opposition was happening at Kujira, he came out of Kujira and in reference not only specifically to Sankwal, he said, look, you cannot have projects before taking people into confidence, number one. Number two, we must look at the carrying capacity of the land. And ultimately, you can only have projects and development which are commensurate with the carrying capacity of the land, which is shrinking. Now, this is applicable to the current situation, not only in one project, but projects across it. Just your thoughts on the matter, because Sapnesh also will speak on this as well. Yes.
Before I come to
To
that
this point,
question,
yes, yes.
I will tell you that in case of the Zuari matter, I am of the personal opinion that when a sale deed has defied the basic tenets that are in the Code of Comunidades, that's of the 15th of April 1961, 2070,
Right.
and a sale of Comunidad land is not tenable under any sections and clauses of that. What is envisaged is an affirmament which has to follow the particular provisions of the code, approval of the general body, and then the government, and back to the general body and the allotment. In whatever manner you look at this sale deed, if the land was allotted to a particular agency, company, individual for a particular purpose, and a trade in the said land, is being looked at now, they had to come back to the Comunidad and get this trade in the land vetted. And only then the government could have given its nod, because the Comunidad is the absolute owner of this land forever.
Right.
The ownership of the Comunidad land is absolute. So I agree with Lawrence, there could be legal hurdles because they are sitting with a sale deed for many years now without being challenged on it. So at least the courtesy would be, and the government, why I say courtesy, the government is more duty bound to the people of the state and that particular locality rather than a business organization. They had to tell them to go back to the Comunidad and seek their. Now coming to your thing, this is my personal view on the matter.
Right, sure.
Now, as far as your questions about the carrying capacity of Goa, I think there are known established agencies and reports that have established on what and how much of tourism Goa can sustain. How much of exposure to tourism. Government keeps on making tourism master plans. New agencies, new consultants are appointed. But where is the data? Where is the specifics of this? And what is the actual roadmap for tourism in terms of the locals getting benefit and deriving their livelihood from it? We do not see that.
Right.
Now, while you brought at the outset of this debate a point that you can have the Goa's precious land is under stress. It's not only land that is under stress. The next and the most important natural resource is water.
Water, yes.
The water is more under stress.
Correct.
And all our rivers and lakes and sea is under tremendous stress of encroachment and pollution. What is the government? Government tells poor people not to throw garbage and whatever in water bodies. But today you see casinos are violating each and every law of the land.
Right.
See the state of the Mandovi river.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, I'll just complete that. I
Sure,
don't know whether
sure.
you're a little
I
tired.
just want to mention
just-
one point after that.
Yeah.
So what is the government doing? Let us show. I'll just complete this because I going back now to two people. One is Tanawade, who says that all permissions are there.
Right.
But you have a government of the day.
Yeah.
There are government of the day signed permissions.
Right.
How can you not withdraw the permissions?
Right.
You do not try to put wool over the people's eyes and tell that this has been happening. If you are the headmaster of a school where neither the teachers nor the students are listening to you, then you have to throw your hands up. Come
Correct.
on.
Ma'am, I'll just come
Second,
to you.
and second, wait.
2 minutes.
The chief minister made another statement. He says that all the mega projects I will be coming to my desk. Now he makes this statement through the medium of the press. I appreciate the medium of the press to reach out to the people, but unfortunately the chief minister cannot work through the press. By now, after almost 8-10 days of his announcement, a notification should have appeared
that
On these lines.
that the projects will appear before. But Chief Minister probably himself is guilty of bringing up these mega projects through another dubious agency called the Investment Promotion Board. How can Investment Promotion Board, now DLF is under stress. There is another 31,000 square meters of land at Rejmagush that is on the hill without a proper access. One 4-star hotel and one 5-star hotel,
We'll take up this,
and they are saying that we are proposing that. There is Investment Promotion Board that is proposing a world peace university, and somebody asked me, what is this going to be final rest in peace for Goans?
So I'll have to carry on because I'm really
that also is on the hill.
pressed for time. Sabri, now just please dwell on this carrying capacity, then I'll come to my mouth.
Carrying capacity, Goa already has a carrying capacity of beaches. That is not been implemented.
Right.
Now, let's go to the basic of what is exactly a carrying capacity. If we
Right.
take the example of this table itself, besides us 5, there are 2 more chairs.
Right.
So, there is a scope of adding 2 more people for this debate.
Right.
Now, this is a carrying capacity as of the day. Supposedly, we talk about carrying capacity without any secondary primary check. Like, if someone decides now to come over here, the 8th person, then someone from here
We'll
has
have
to
to be eased out.
has to be eliminated
Yeah,
from this
correct,
table.
Correct.
Now, it may so happen without adequate primary checks that Goans may end up outside of this carrying capacity, and a huge new lot of people will be coming and staying here, will be saying that now we are stable, carrying capacity is achieved, but the land will be without Goans.
Right. Right.
So, we have to be very, very strategic. We are demanding for carrying capacity. It shouldn't
me,
end up that we've been replaced.
Tell me this one more quick data if you have it. See, if we are talking of so much of conversions in this entire debate, is there any data on the amount of land that has actually been converted which has resulted to the complete hitting out at the carrying capacity of?
From March 2023 onwards till this date, till
Right.
today,
Right.
about more than 22 lakh square meters of land has been changed from ecological sensitive areas to settlement.
From which period?
From March 2023 onwards till today.
Okay, 22 lakh square meters.
22 lakh square meters.
Now, Swapnesh, I don't challenge his figures. He must have done some study. I will add to that in the run-up to the preparation of the ODPs of Kalangut, Kandoli, Arpora, Nagwa and Parra, 16 lakh square meters of land has been converted. 16 lakhs in a small patch there. Now, when you have such massive conversions being done and eco-sensitive zones, coastal settlements and everything under this thing, so how do you expect there being some sort of an environmental consciousness in the state?
Correct. Your point. And
I'm
then
coming back.
And after you make your point, since we are doing the last round, just also like you to dwell, say about 10 to 15 seconds completely on where do we move from here.
Yes. Now, I'm coming back to the Bhutani project,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
because that's on my mind. Now, this Bhutani project will consist of 720 units, all with swimming pools. The immediate question that comes to anybody's mind is, from where are we going to get the water for these swimming pools? Okay, that's one. Secondly, this water cannot be perpetual in the swimming pools. This water has to be thrown out and fresh water has to be taken in at regular intervals. The second question is, where will this water from the swimming pools land? Will it land in our lakes,
Right.
in the village,
Correct.
polluting the water bodies of the village? Has any care been taken to find out? I mean, it's nice to think that there will be a building with 720 units with swimming pools. Sounds very grand and very posh, but you have to face the ground reality, and you have to, most importantly, consider the locals of the land. From where, as it is, the village of Sankwal has problems with water. Okay, there will be days when the water taps run dry. So from where is the water going to be provided for these
Ma'am,
swimming
that's
pools?
not only Sankwal, the whole of
Yes,
Goa.
no,
This question can be replicated across all projects.
across all
the
entire
whether
state.
there is project or no project, currently the locals are not getting water. from
Correct.
the-
Yes.
Yes. Now what I am saying is, you can plan great and grand projects, but you have to see the ground reality and the carrying capacity. Now, what is happening? Besides, if you're going to have 720 units, it has been said time and again that eventually the population residing in these units will be bigger than the population of the rest of the village.
That's
so
the way it
look
looks
at
like,
the
yes.
impact that this will have on the tiny village of Sankwal in the dot-sized state of Goa. I think one most important fact that we have to bear in mind is that the state of Goa is the smallest state in the country. Okay, if you compare it to Karnataka, I think it's about Karnataka is about 62 times bigger.
Right.
If you compare it to Maharashtra, it is 80 something bigger times bigger than Goa. So there is no comparison. So what are we doing? Is this called planning? What the government is allowing? Shouldn't there be planning with reference to ground reality? This is not happening, and I think this is not happening not only in the village of Sankwal but all over Goa. I remember this monsoon season in somewhere in Giri, okay, the water from the fields was flowing over the roads,
Right.
and you could not see the roads. In fact, everybody was driving on the roads very cautiously lest they landed in the field. Now, why was this happening? Everybody said, and I heard some engineers talking that this is happening because the absorption capacity of the soil has decreased due to concrete construction activity.
right.
And so the water in the fields is collecting all over. So I think it is the responsibility of the government of the day to be little more responsible, to study every project, the consequences of the project on the environment around the project, and only then accordingly give permission.
Mr. Fernandez, where do we go from here?
I would suggest, as we have done in the past, I was a member of the, we are fighting against special economic zone, and we formed one group called SVM.
Okay, so what's your solution? What
Says
do we-
Virodhi Manch.
Yes.
We fought it tooth and nail, and we won. The whole project was scrapped in Goa.
Right.
You must be knowing.
No, that's exactly because the Congress government
Yeah.
is responsive to
Yeah,
the people.
I'll just come to you because
And
we are
that's
running
how,
over. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, unless the people come out on the road,
Right.
nothing happens.
Right.
Government, whoever it is, they don't listen. At least Congress used to listen to people's voices.
Precisely. That's
and
exactly
they
the
did
point.
that. And we were, Father Maverick Fernandez, under his leadership, we had formed that group, says Virodhi Manch. And Sankwal, mind you, there was 2,08,000 square meters land which was acquired by the government for different purposes,
Right.
was given to SEZ.
Right.
And now we got it. I mean,
Okay.
the entire, because the total area in this SEZ was Keri,
Right.
was about 14.
So what you're essentially saying is people need to take to the streets and agitate, and that's the only way forward.
Yeah, yeah, and-
Sapnesh Bab, your mantra for change, does it all boil down to the manner in which we are looking at land and the way we are handling land?
Change will only come when people will like to have a change. The manner in which we are getting our leaders elected, either we can put them in only two categories, according to me. Either they are corrupt, fully corrupt, or they are unable to fight the corruption. These are the
These two
only
categories. Yes. Okay.
because they don't understand. Even if they want to find a corruption is not that they are picking from your pocket and running away. They have created a system. You need to first understand what is the system, and in that system, which is that provision what they have kept in, which is allowing them to steal from people or sell the land, whatever the concern is.
Right.
We need some competent people to defeat the corrupt lot in the politics. But going back to people, people are, according to me, people will not accept that type of leader to be as their MLA. Now, considering this as a fact, what option we are left with? We need a set of people who will be keeping checks over all the control mechanisms, starting from government opposition, media, and if these three are not working, dragging all of them to court. We need this type of setups in the society in all the villages now.
So it has to be a grassroots movement all over.
Grassroots movement of competent people, professional people, skilled people.
Right. So,
Excuse me.
Tulio, what is the
Because
future?
Can I just have a
I'll let you
mention?
conclude. Let Tulio finish, then I'll conclude with you. I'll come to you.
So now what happens is
Yeah.
amendments to laws have been carried out.
Yes.
We have heard about this conversions being done.
Yeah.
Now it is a sad point that even the authorities and some of the ministers and MLAs, it has come on the public domain
Right.
that Mr. Sripad Naik and Mr. MLA from Pedne, I think Praveen Arlekar, they are part of the list. At least that is I have seen of getting their own and making public statements that we will get it withdrawn if it is illegal. Have you got it? Made an application upfront and withdraw yourself that we had mistakenly done it? No, this is just trying to play to the
I'll
gallery.
add to this. I'll add to this. Now, the first check which should have come into picture is the opposition party. He made a statement that if someone highlights me the illegality in my application, I will withdraw it. What opposition did?
No, I will tell you, Mr. Swapnesh, this statement itself is flawed. How can you say that that application is illegal? There is a legal provision. We say that the legal provision of 17(2) or 39A itself is flawed. We are going on the provision that is flawed. Obviously, any application done under that
He's
provision.
saying after the honorable
So-
MP said this, what did the opposition do after?
We
that?
condemned him. We condemned him, and we
after
said, we told him.
condemnation, the MP will withdraw it. That is what the expectation
And
is.
now
That
we
is
will-
where exactly
no,
the problem
no, no,
lies.
no, we will
my,
go back.
my concern is, did you apply and get his file? Did you go through that file and found out so that you can flash it in the media that this is the errors in
No,
your application,
but-
now withdraw it?
Swapnesh, that is
Ma-
the
our
legal. That is
expectation.
no.
That is not
We-
a legal. See, he specifically said, you show error in my application, in my
And if
file,
there is
and
no
I will.
error, if there is no error,
That is exactly what the challenge is.
No, that means he is subscribing to provisions that are meant to destroy Goa. For example, now you brought the devil's advocate part. If there is no flaw in the permission, yet the locals say that this type of a project is not suitable for the state. Now, I'll come back to this. Forget that part. That is one.
We are really running out of time, sir.
You have no. Even investment promotion board is becoming the new
Right.
mantra of
Correct.
getting
We
things
mentioned
which
that.
are not.
Correct.
How do you deal with that?
What I
Tulio,
would
really
like
sorry, I
to
have to
say
cut.
is, I think the government should also have a committee at every village and city level whenever a mega project is to be put up.
Ma'am, no
and
government committees will.
No,
This is
include
only the
the
will of the
locals
people.
as well.
Okay,
And
we'll
only
take
when
this
people
discussion
rise
offline.
and
that
expose
is
the
what-
government,
that is what-
then only
no,
you will
see,
get.
You cannot make the people rising as the law of the land. People don't have to rise every time to set things right.
It has.
But what? No, it has,
I'll
because
agree.
the government is not
I'll agree to
fulfilling
you on
its
this.
responsibilities. But what we have to do is, wherever there should be a local committee of every village, okay, and whenever a mega project is to happen in the village or in the city, the committee or the locals should be invited to give their inputs on the project, so that, because the locals are aware
Right,
of all
right.
the details, the
No,
Tulio,
but
Tulio,
ma'am,
Tulio, I'll have to
government
stop.
will
Tulio,
rest
I'll have to hard
have the
stop.
last laugh
Tulio,
on
I
it
have
and
no-
say that we overrule it.
No, why?
There are
why,
hearings.
Why we
There
will
are hearings
overrule
on.
if we are able
There
to
are hearings by
put
the
our
collector
thoughts legally across
on a
No,
number
no,
of
no.
So
on a
what-
number
what-
of
right
industrial
now,
projects.
right now,
I'll just
the
sum up.
with respect
Okay.
to
No,
Bhutani
no,
project,
that's-
okay, I'll
who is
not-
fighting?
Okay,
It
I'll
is the
sum up the two
locals that
differing.
are fighting
Okay, I'll sum up
against
the
the
two differing
government.
views. What Alina is saying is that at the end of the day, people can take to the streets for years and years
No,
together.
we shouldn't make
But
taking to the streets
but there
as
has to be.
something,
But what she's
traditional.
saying is that cannot be an endless exercise
Yes,
I agree.
in eternity
Yeah.
and perpetuity.
Yeah.
There has to be a mechanism made so that
Yes,
these
there
things are
should
stopped
be a
at the
mechanism
grassroots.
which
So
includes
that's the
the
point.
locals.
Who will be members of that committee?
No, no. So for that,
their own cronies will be members of
Tulio,
that committee.
Tulio, for that we
Don't
will
have
need
a
one more
committee, but
discussion.
invite the villagers.
But I really
Because
thank.
today the locals are rising up because they are
Yes,
not
ma'am.
happy.
Yes, ma'am.
Had
Right,
they
ma'am.
been consulted,
Yes, ma'am.
this may not have been a reason.
See,
no?
I really thank all our panelists for their spirited involvement in this. And the point is, I really wish the constraints of time weren't there. And but this gives me the energy to have another discussion very quickly, because there is so much that has been said, yet there is so much that has been left unsaid. And the point is, this is not because people are differing, but people are looking at various routes to achieve a better Goa for the next generation. That is all there is to it. The point is, there are different thoughts, but the issue is the concern and the passion is very palpable, not just amongst the panelists. They are only reflecting the sentiment, and people are knocking at various doors to see which door will open for a better future. Alina may have one route, Tulio may have one route, Swapnesh will have a discussion, Mr. Fernandez, but I think all along the common thread in this entire discussion is this, that the elected representatives, and I'm talking about both the government and the opposition, not one particular party, must understand that their primary duty is to serve the people. It may seem very simple, it may seem naive, but at the end of the day, for the people, by the people and of the people, the words of Abraham Lincoln still ring very true, and it should be the most important factor that should govern all our governance and service. And once that gets taken into account, then laws will not be changed to benefit a certain section of people. Sections and subsections will not be added to ensure that a particular form of development happens. And most importantly, the carrying capacity of the land will not be determined by who comes in and does mega projects, but will be determined by the amount of forests that are being destroyed, the impact it is going to happen on the land, impact is happening on water. So in the sense that when all these things come into being, then one can understand that there is a spirit of service which is being given by the people who are elected to serve. And I think that is the sum and substance of this entire particular thing, because at the end of the day, businessmen will want to come in, they'll want to put in their money and get something called ROI, return on investment. But the point is, the bigger investment is that of the people who invested the future in the people they elect. And that return of investment supersedes everything, because we are dealing with lives, we are dealing with futures, we are dealing with the land which we call our mother. And I think that is extremely important, and we need to go home with that sentiment in mind. Thank you very much.